Prabhu that was in the Cineramas. We're going to show half in the morning and half after the noon or two.
Nice.
She's going to cook these tomorrow? No.
Wow. Today.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namah. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 3, Text number 1. Uddhava Uvacha Tatassa Agatya Puram Swapitro Chikirshayasham Baladeva Samyutaha Nipatya Tungat Ripuyutanatham Atam Vyakarshat Vyasam Ojashorvayam Uddhava Uvacha Tatatsagatya Puram Swapitro Chikirshayasham Baladeva Samyutaha Nipatya Tungadripuyutanatham Tam Vyakarshad Vyasum Ojashorvayam Uddhava Uvacha Tatatsa Agatya Puram Swapitro Chikirshayasham Baladeva Samyutaha Nipatya Tungadripuyutanatham Tam Vyakarshad Vyasum Ojashorvayam
Tata Sagatya Puram Swapitro Chikirsaya Sambaladeva Samyuta Nipatyatunga Ripuyutanatam Atam Vyakarsha Vyasam Ojaswavyam
Uddhava Tathasagata Puram Swapitro Chikirshaya Sambaladeva Samyuta Nipatya Tungadripuyutanatham Atam Vyakarshat Vyasumoja Sorvyam Uddhava Tatasa Agatya Param Swapitro Chikirshaya Sambaladeva Samyuta Napacchatunga Ripayuttanatam Atam Vyakasad Vyasum Ojasyam
Uddhava Tathasagata Puram Swapitros Chikirsaya Sambaladeva Samyuta Nipatya Tunga Ripuyutanatam Hatam Vyakashad Vyasum Ojosovyam
Uddhava Uvacha Tatasa Agatya Puram Swapitro Chikirshaya Sambaladeva Samyuta Nipatya Tunga Ripuyutanatam
Vajatunga Ripuyutanatam
Hatam Yakashadyasum Ojasorvyam.
Hatam Yakashadyasum.
Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Sri Uddhava said, thereafter Lord Krishna went to Mathura city and with Sri Baladeva, and to please their parents they dragged Kamsa, leader of the public enemy, down from his throne and killed him, pulling him along the ground with a great strength. Please repeat. Sri Uddhava said, thereafter Lord Krishna went to the Mathura city
Lord Krishna went to Mathura city
with Sri Baladeva,
and
and to please their parents they dragged Kamsa,
they dragged Kamsa,
leader of the public
the leader of the public
enemies, down from his throne and killed him, pulling him along the ground with great strength. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. King Kamsa's death is only briefly described here because such pastimes vividly and elaborately described in the 10th canto. The Lord proved to be a worthy son of his parents, even at the age of 16 years. Both brothers, Lord Krishna and Baldev, went to Mathura from Vrindavan and killed their maternal uncle, who had given so much trouble to their parents, Vasudeva and Devaki. Kamsa was a great giant, and Vasudeva and Devaki never thought Krishna and Balaram would be able to kill such a great, strong enemy. The two brothers attacked Kamsa on the throne. Their parents feared that now Kamsa would finally get an opportunity to kill his sons, whom they had hidden for so long in the house of the Nanda Maharaj. The parents of the Lord, due to the paternal affection, felt extreme danger. They almost fainted. Just to convince them that they had actually killed Kamsa, Krishna and Baldev pulled Kamsa's dead body along the ground to encourage them. Hari Om Tat Sat. Timrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Sakuru Nilitamya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadavakyam Dadati Swapadantikam Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langai Girim Yatkripatamaham Mande Shri Gurum Dinatayanam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Vishwaram Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Ushabala Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Namam Vishnuklaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is a new chapter. So we have been hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam on the discussion between great devotee Uddhava and Vidura. And so the last chapter, so Uddhava had started to speak about his remembrance of Lord Krishna, and he recounted different pastimes in Vrindavan. So different things from his birth and from his killing of certain demons, and especially killing of Putana, and also his behavior and his engagement with Gopas and Gopis and different pastimes, including the Rasa Leela was discussed. So Uddhava is continuing to remember Lord Krishna, and it is spontaneously flowing from his mind and through his lotus mouth. The descriptions of Lord Krishna is always very wonderful and very purifying, and especially to hear from great devotees like Uddhava, and when we chant it along with them, so it is very even more purifying. So the stutis, or the great descriptions, or the great stutis, the prayers of these great devotees are always celebrated in Srimad Bhagavatam. So we have Uddhava, we have Kunti Stuti, and the prayers of Dhruva Maharaj, prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, and prayers of so many great wonderful devotees. It's always celebrated in Srimad Bhagavatam because this is coming out from the mouth of a pure devotee of Krishna, and it is always perfect and chanted properly and heard properly. So here in this particular verse, we are going to start Uddhava is going to start describing about his pastime chronologically outside Vrindavan. So the chapter is titled about his pastimes out of Vrindavan, so especially Mathura and Dwarka. So this particular verse, Tata sa agatya puram swapitro chikirshayasham baladeva samyutaha nipatya tungat ripuyuta natam hatam yakarshad vyasum ojashot vayam. So this is especially talking about Krishna coming into the Mathura. So from Vrindavan, the first time he is going out, and Krishna was he was at Vrindavan for 16 years, 11 years, and then we had our Akrura who came from Mathura to Vrindavan as a messenger of Kamsa. And Akrura convinced his parents, and he revealed the real truth being that Krishna and Balaram, they are actually sons of Vasudeva and Devaki, and they are not real sons of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Maya. So that was a great shock for them. And another shock that was awaiting them was Akrura was he expressed his inability to protect Krishna because Kamsa has ordered him to be brought to Mathura, and he was not very sure. He definitely knew Krishna was Supreme Personality of Godhead, but still he was a little anxious for Krishna. So whether he will be safe, because Kamsa is known to be a very devious and very tyrannical king. So he is capable of doing anything and everything within the rules or outside the rules. So he had already made many attempts to kill Krishna multiple times by sending different demons and trying to kill him by different ways. But now, he is now very clearly identified that Krishna was the death personified for him, and he had sent out his messenger Akrura. So which means that he's going to make elaborate plans for his when he arrives in Mathura to be able to kill him. So this is awaiting. He knew that very well, Akrura. So he didn't want to reveal all those things to Nanda and Yashoda and make them put them in anxiety. But he did kind of reveal it to Krishna. So Krishna, although he was just an 11-year-old boy, so he was mature enough to understand Supreme Personality of God, of course. But he consoled his parents, Nanda and Yashoda, and he left with Akrura to Mathura. And this pastime of he entering Mathura is also very wonderful. So as usual, Krishna is Supreme Lord, and he always has his devotees and demons. So devotees always like him, they always love him, but the demons, they always hate him. They always think he's their competitor, or he's someone who will spoil their plans. So the demons always make plans to kill him, or defame him, or do something to harm him. And so when Krishna enters Mathura, very beautifully it's described in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, how everybody is seeing and they are drinking from his beautiful, wonderful face, his beauty, and they are appreciating him, and many are in the prayerful mood as well. So definitely by seeing Krishna, those who were at least had a little dint of pious credits, so they definitely felt attracted to him, and definitely felt he is not an ordinary person, he is a divine personality. And so their heart were cleansed because they approached Krishna by seeing him with a good intention, with a very positive attitude. So their hearts were even more cleansed, and they were able to appreciate Krishna. But those who are in the viprita, or those who are in the opposite humor, like envy or angry or different other humors, which is not conducive for devotional service. So their envy and their anger was intensified, and they became even more envious, and they wanted to do something to harm Krishna. And we see how when he enters into Mathura, so we have told so many different incidents that happens. First of them is so he meets the washerman. And the washerman is carrying a wonderful clothes, very well washed and ironed. Shri Shri Radha the key teacher. Very well ironed clothes to the King Kamsa. So Krishna was attracted to see these clothes. And then he was giving an opportunity to the washerman. So he voluntarily gives some clothes to him, and that way he attains some purity, some piety, which will benefit him, make him a devotee of him. So, but washerman was definitely not one who was had any piety. So he definitely was very envious of Krishna, and he was a very obedient son of Kamsa, obedient servant of Kamsa. So he definitely wanted to be loyal to his master. So he felt and extraordinarily was extremely offended to even hear that someone was asking king's clothes. So the whole Mathura city was under the tyrannical rule of Kamsa, so nobody would even ask such a thing. To give king's clothes or give any of the king's property, it was unheard of. So when Krishna was asking, so he was really disturbed, and he thought it was extremely his audacity, and he wanted to teach him a lesson. So he wanted to beat him. So but Krishna very expertly, deftly he avoided that swing of his stick, and then he immediately killed him, in no time. So he was killed. Then we see how other incidents, the devotees, a lot of people responded positively to Krishna when Krishna came. Of course, the ladies of the Mathura city were all looking at him, and they were all thinking he was Cupid himself. And further, so there was a flower merchant. So he used to provide flowers to the king. But he understood Krishna is not an ordinary person, and he voluntarily gave the flowers to Krishna. And he was immediately purified, and he was blessed by Krishna. Then further we see the incident of Kubja also. So how she prayerfully approached Krishna, and he immediately helped her to attain a very beautiful form by just lifting her up. And so that's another wonderful incident. So those who are in a positive mindset approach Krishna with a lot of humility, so they were all benefited, they were all rewarded. And those who approached him with enmity, they were punished. So all this news was going to Kamsa. So Kamsa had sent his spies, and they were keeping a very close watch on Krishna. Every step was reported back to him, and he was continuously hearing this, and he was burning with envy and burning with anxiety. So he was extremely understood Krishna is not an ordinary person, he's not somebody who could be easily dealt with by different ways of threat or any kind of violence. So he understood Krishna is not an ordinary person. So he started making some elaborate plans. So he called his council of his ministers, and he decided, they discussed in detail about Krishna. And while this was happening, so Krishna already entered into the Mathura city, the center of the city, the arena, it was like a gladiator arena, and he entered into it, and there was a Dhanur Yagya going. So Dhanur Yagya Dhanur means bow. It was a very heavy bow that was kept there, and so the next day was meant to be a great cultural event. So Kamsa was going to preside there, and they were going to have all different people come and try different things to amuse him. So one of them was this Dhanur Yagya. And it was so heavy that nobody could possibly lift it. And so Krishna did come into the arena. So he was asked not to enter by the soldiers, because it was meant for tomorrow's evening, not today's evening. So he did not listen to them. He just walked past, and then he went to the Dhanur the pedestal, and then he lifted it effortlessly and he broke it. But the sound from the breaking of this bow reached all the way to Kamsa. And he fell from his throne, Bhagavatam says. So his discussion was going on about how to capture Krishna or how to kill him. So then he was suddenly jolted from his seat and he fell down from his seat. And Kamsa was, he was asking what happened. So then the news came to him that this whole thing happened in the arena. This whole bow was broken, how Krishna came and broke. So it became even more intense. So the discussion was, a plan was made on how to kill Krishna the next day. And everything was, arrangements were made. So next day in the morning, so when Krishna was coming into the arena, so there were so many different places and plans were made to make an attempt on his life, to ambush him and kill him. So first of that was the elephant, Kuvalayapin. So the elephant was given a lot of wine and it was made intoxicated and it was ready to, and it is in a very agitated mood. Even the smallest agitation would provoke the elephant. So that was kept in the entrance of the gate. And there were other plans behind that. So nobody thought anybody would survive the elephant. The elephant was so powerful. It was the biggest elephant that he had, Kamsa had, and he was completely in the intoxicated state. So as soon as Krishna came in, the sight of Krishna came in, the elephant herdsman, so he immediately agitated the elephant. He poked it. So the elephant understands that is in the way the person who is handling the elephant, he has a way to communicate with the elephant. So he pointed out that is a person you have to strike. So don't let him in, don't let him live. So go and smash him under your feet. So that was a clear instruction given to the elephant through his bodily gestures. The elephant charged at Krishna. He was running madly at him. So Krishna and Balram were, of course, looked a little amused. What is happening here? And the elephant charging at me, and it looks it's coming right to me. So then Krishna and Balram, they understood this is how this will be dealt with. So one went behind the elephant, one stood in front of the elephant. So Balram went behind the elephant and he caught hold of the elephant by the tail. So the elephant could not move. It was so strong that the elephant could not move. And then what happened was just like how Krishna had thrown the Dhenukasura and others just by swinging them and then throwing them off like that. So they easily put the elephant down and then killed the elephant. And then the elephant, the handler, he also started to attack Krishna. So he was also dealt with and he was also killed. So like this, the first step was Krishna had easily managed to go past that. And the next that was waiting was even more grave danger was waiting for him. So then it was when Krishna entered the arena, everybody's eyes fell on him. And they were all so happy to see Krishna, very beautiful young boys, and so wonderful features, and so looking so divine, so it attracted everybody. As usual, the demons were not very happy with this, like how he managed to get past the elephant. And they were all wishing that Krishna is killed. So Kamsa had already made some plans to deal with them. If this happened, then next what? So he had plans to have two great wrestlers, so Chanur and Mushtik. So they were instructed to come and challenge Krishna and Balram. So they were waiting, apparently waiting as if just for this time to come. Krishna and Balram had come inside and they went directly to him and then said, so we heard about your great activities and we want to challenge you in a wrestling match. But Krishna and Balram, they said that we don't want to fight. We are just boys. How can we fight with big wrestlers like you? So, but the wrestlers, Chanur was saying that no, you had killed so many demons. We know that. So I'm sure you can fight with us. It's just going to be a playful fight. So so they convinced them to fight. And when people learned what was going on, there was a big cry of disbelief and what was going to happen. So they could not believe it. how would these two boys fight with big wrestlers like Chanur and Mushtik? They were known to be the bone crushers. You fight with them, then you end up breaking your bones and giving up your life. So they are known very well for that. And they would not stop until the person is dead. So they knew that very well. So the audience, the citizens of Mathura were aghast with the things that are going to unfold, and they were in great. They were highly pessimistic about what's going to happen, and there was a lot of murmuring all over the audience, and some were crying, and some were protesting, and there was a lot of noise going on. And Kamsa said, "Okay, let's all watch the wrestling match." The wrestling match then was about to begin. So Krishna and Balram, they started with each Chandur and Mushtik, and they were starting to play like a normal wrestlers. So with some moves, and there was some little fight was going on there. So then it started to become very intense. Then we had Chandur and Mushtik. They were starting to become extremely aggressive and trying to attack Krishna and Balram. So Krishna and Balram didn't want to put his parents in anxiety. Their parents were also in the audience, and as it is mentioned in this verse, Tatassa agatya puram swapitro chikirshaya asam. So chikirshaya asam means in order to alleviate them of their anxiety. So all of them were in great anxiety, all the audience, people in the audience, and also their parents. They already had been through so much of miseries in life, so had to give up 7 children, and then could not raise the 8th child also. So they already been through so much in life, and when they saw Krishna and Balram, they were extremely concerned. Of course, they were so happy to see Krishna and Balram, but when it was going to happen that they were going to face this Kamsa and this Chanur and Mushtik, they were aghast with what is happening. So they were really very, very worried about Krishna. So Krishna and Balram, they didn't want to prolong this whole fight. They wanted to put an end to it as soon as possible. So Krishna immediately, deftly managed to put Chanur down and immediately killed him by blows on his chest. And similarly, Baldev also killed Mushtik. So they both were killed. Then they did not stop them. So already Kamsa had the plan 3. So these two were killed, then there were other wrestlers who were waiting to come and attack him. So there was a horde of wrestlers. They rushed to the arena and started to fight with Krishna and Balram. So Krishna and Balram were very expert, and they immediately managed all the wrestlers to kill some, and then others managed to flee from the arena. And everybody was sighing relief, saying all this, that all the wrestlers are gone, thinking that's the end of it. But then Kamsa became enraged. So Kamsa was watching all these things. He didn't expect all these things to happen. He didn't expect them to survive Kolaya Pida. He didn't expect them to survive this Chanur Mushtik and these wrestlers. So he stood up and then he said, this Krishna and Balram, they are the most sinful people, and they need to be killed. So he ordered his men to capture them and kill them. Then Krishna, this was the time, so immediately he jumped from the arena all the way to the high pedestal on which Kamsa was sitting, and then he brought him down to the arena, and he fought with him in a wrestling match, and everybody is watching what is happening. Soldiers also stopped; they did not do anything because the king is directly involved here, and so Kamsa was immediately punched. Of course, there was some talk. Oh, you, my dear uncle, I know you are waiting for me for a long, long time, and here I have come, and let us finish the business. So immediately put Kamsa down, and he killed in no time. So that was a great, great, great relief to his parents, and they rushed to greet him, and then they embraced him. So it was a great relief to his parents. So Krishna sometimes puts his devotees in great anxiety, and so that increases their love for him. So that is his intention. So for especially paternal love, so they are so worried when Nanda and Yashoda he was so worried many times when Krishna goes to herd the cows. Because always there is a story of some demon coming and trying to making an attempt on his life. So this is always there, especially in the earthly pastimes. So Krishna puts his parents in a lot of anxiety, but he finally relieves it, and that increases their love for him. And of course, Devaki and Vasudev, they were waiting for so many years, 11 years, to see Krishna, and finally saw Krishna, and they were greatly relieved that Kamsa has been killed. So this is always there in different pastimes. So even in Ramayana also, so when Rama was there already in Lanka, so there was elaborate plans for the fight the next day. So already there was the discussion was on, and a messenger was sent that there was going to be a fight the next day in the morning as soon as the sun rises. So that night, when Rama and Lakshmana, so they were going to take rest. So Vibhishana had already warned that this Ravana is not going to keep quiet. He already has all these plans, makes devious plans, and he attacks his enemies at the most unexpected times. So he had warned. So Hanuman was put in charge of Rama and Lakshmana. So Rama and Lakshmana was actually put in a hut which was actually made by the tail of Hanuman. So Hanuman had made a whole hut from his tail, and Rama and Lakshmana were kept inside the hut. But so what so happened that Hanuman was meditating, and Rama and Lakshmana were sleeping inside, taking rest. But inside, so already Ravana had made some plans. So he had his uncle called Ahiravan and Mahiravan. He had two uncles, and they were known to be very, very demoniac people. And they were great expert in the art of magic and black magic. So they were sought for. So he had made he meditated upon them, and they both appeared. And he narrated to them the situation, what is happening, and this fight is going to happen tomorrow. And Ahiravan and Mahiravan, they said, don't worry, Ravana, I'm going to take care of these two people. And they went in disguise, and then they saw that Rama and Lakshmana were kept in this place. And so they tried to come from the sides to see if they can break into the tail, but they were not able to break into the tail. So they decided to come from under the earth. And since they are already inhabitants of Pataloka, so they are already expert in how they can manipulate the earth and then come behind the. So they came from under the earth, and then they take Ram and Lakshmana inside from the earth to the tunnel all the way to Patal. So through their magic they did this very expertly. And it was just going to be in the morning, early in the morning, the Brahma Muhurta time. So Hanuman had wanted to wake up Lord Ram and Lakshman for their morning rites. But inside they found that Ram and Lakshman were not there. And so they searched everywhere, everybody was searching, and finally they found that there was a covered earth, and then there was something to cover the hole, the tunnel, and they understood. Vibhishana was quick to understand that this is all a plot by Ravana, and if somebody had done this, it must be his uncles, or his uncles as well, Akiravan and Mahiravan. So everybody was in great anxiety. The war is going to start, there's no Ram Lakshmana, so how it's going to happen? So Hanuman was assigned this task to go and find him. And Vibhishana already gave him all details, where he is likely to be, the Patala Loka, how to approach, how to go. There are different layers that he has to go through. So the Ahirahan, Mahirahan, they were expert in black magic. They could just go in and go out anywhere without any effort. But it was not the same case for Hanuman. So he had to go through so many different layers of water, earth, and then hard rocks, and then finally all the way to the different subterranean planets, to the Patala Loka. There were so many different layers of even gas, and so many different layers of fire and different things. So finally he came to the door of the Patala Loka. It was guarded by an very special warrior. So his name was Makara Dwaj. So he had a crocodile body and he had a human face. And and he had to fight with him, and finally he came to know that actually he's his son, Hanuman's own son. And he let him, and he gave all the details, how to go inside, and how to, where he has kept Rama and Lakshman, and how to face and how to deal with Ahiravan, Mahiravan. This Ahiravan, Mahiravan, they are not so easy to be killed. It's not that you put the knife on them and they die. It's not like that. So they had their life put in different places in the flames, in different flames that is in 6 different directions. And so it all has to be, the flame has to be put out at the same time. That is when these 2 people are going to die. Otherwise they are not going to die. So he revealed all this information to him. And so then there was the Hanuman became a very small in form, took a smaller form in Ahima, Mahima, Siddhi, had always. So he became a smaller in form, and then he watched over what is happening, what is the situation, where is Lord Rama and Lakshmana kept. Somehow Lord Rama and Lakshmana, they were put in a kind of a sleep. So then the story goes on in the Ramayana, how he managed to save Lord Rama and Lakshmana by killing Ahiravan and Mahiravan. So they were, in fact, even before the killing of them, they had a big fight. But as soon as you would kill him, they would come back to life. Then they understood that this is not going to happen, it's not going to get solved like this. So behind him, some others also came, like Sugriva and others, they also came to back Lord Hanuman. So there was a big fight. While their fight was going on, then Hanuman went and extinguished all the flames in one time, at the same time. So Hanuman was empowered with such a wonderful potency. Or Rama had given him so much potency, and he was able to carry out any task given to him. In fact, it was like one soul, 2 bodies. Hanuman understood everything that Lord Rama is thinking of. So that is the nature of an ideal disciple or ideal servant. So even before being told, so he already understands what he wants. He already understands what is his master's desire. So even before being told. So Hanuman had that ability. So he understood Lord Rama's every thought, and he implemented it even before being told. And he was imbibed with all the powers necessary. So that is Lord Hanuman. So he is so although Lord Krishna in his pastimes, he did a lot of wonderful superhuman activities. But in Ramayana, he left all the superhuman activities to Hanuman. Anybody who thinks that Hanuman is actually doing by his own potency is actually a fool. Hanuman tells multiple times, it's all because of Lord Ram. I'm chanting Lord Ram's name, and he's just doing it through me. So one should always understand that. So there is always a common thinking in Indian public that Hanuman is very powerful, and they tend to worship him separate from Lord Ram. So that is definitely not appreciated by him. He never likes that. So he always is in that mood of servant of Lord Ram. He doesn't worry about his prowess or how much he possesses, the powers he possesses. He doesn't really care about it. All he really cares is how I can serve Lord Ram. So whether he has a prowess or doesn't have a prowess, he jumps from his seat and ready to carry out anything that is told to him. And the prowess automatically comes to him. Lord Rama gives him whatever is necessary. So that is one should be in that attitude and relieve the anxiety of the Lord. So he was the one who would relieve the anxiety of Lord Ram. So any anxiety, he would immediately go and settle it out. Whether Lakshmana became unconscious because of the potency of the Naga Astra, so immediately he was there for the task, and he immediately carried out whatever was necessary. So that should be very clear, and you should be very understand from that one should be always very submissive, always ready to carry out the instruction of spiritual master at all circumstances, by all means. That's very important. So the point here is that Krishna sometimes puts the devotees in anxiety, just like in Prabhupada's pastimes also. So there was so much anxiety whether we will retain the Juhu temple. There's so much going on. So all this, the devotees who are coming from America and different parts of the world, they had no idea of how to deal with Indian situations. So you had different people conspiring against you, wanting to put you out of the place, and using hired goons to deal with you. So they had no experience of all these things. They had come from comfortable background, had a very nice upbringing. They never dealt with goons and such people, but somehow, so they understood the situation. They understood Prabhupada wanted that place, and they stood their ground. And then they ultimately Krishna saved the situation. Krishna is always protecting his devotees. All we need to do is stick to the ground and stick to the basics. Listen to the spiritual master and keep going, and not become extremely morose or extremely happy. So always be equipoised and do what we need to do. So that will help us to keep going in the spiritual life. And ultimately success is definitely assured in spiritual life. In any other material endeavor there is no guarantee of success, but in spiritual life, as long as we stick to the words of the previous acharyas, of the spiritual master, success is guaranteed. And all we need to do is be, the integrity has to be maintained. So that's very important. That's the most difficult part. It's very easy, it's also very difficult. So we have to always remain simple and always remain humble, and so eventually we will approach that. We will come to the right path and the right destination. So we'll stop here. If there are any questions, any comments. Yes, Prabhuji.
So it's interesting. Actually, I was going to ask a question about Kamsa, but this last part of the class, I was recently listening to some seminars by Harisari about Prabhupada, and it was really fascinating. But this point about that the potency is coming from Krishna, Prabhupada was trying to stress that he wasn't writing the books. The books were being written, that several times Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada came to him, and there's another incident where some of the Goswamis came, and they were all saying they're supporting, and for one point, Prabhupada was talking to Harisari Prabhu and a couple of others. He said, "You see this purple right here?" He said, "I did not write this. Right now, if I was to sit down, I could not write this. Krishna wrote this. No man could do all these books." And there's a whole series of people coming in saying, "How can one man write all these books?" And I remember in Atlanta when he was on a morning walk, one of the members of the library party said that the professors are saying, "How can it's amazing that this one person's, they're amazed that you wrote all these books or translated all these books yourself. To do six translations in a lifetime is a major accomplishment for most scholars." And so he was saying, they're amazed that you're doing it. And Prabhupada said, "So am I. I don't know how I'm doing. This is all Krishna's mercy." And one night also he was saying that he told Harisari that my Prabhupada came, and he brought 3 others. One was older, he was sitting down in kopins, chanting on very large beads around his neck. The other was standing, a little younger than him. And then behind him there was someone else, very beautiful, very effulgent. They were all there together encouraging me, and it was Sanatana, Rupa, and Jiva Goswami.
Wow.
And he had been sick, and then he became replenished and was able to continue working. Because they were telling him, basically, I don't remember the exact wording, but we got this, we're helping you. You're going to do this. So Prabhupada was always saying, I didn't do this. My Guru Maharaj, the 6 Goswamis, Krishna, through them, Krishna's empowering like that. I couldn't write this purport right now if I were to sit down and try and do it. I don't know how it happens. Krishna did it. So similarly, it's like you're telling how Hanuman was empowered. He never took credit for the strength. But I have a question about Kamsa. Didn't he have any sons? No heirs? And was there any challenge after that? I mean, was there a smooth transition of power to Surasena?
So Kamsa had his father, Ugrasena.
Ugrasena, yeah.
Yeah, and he had 2 wives, but there's nothing mentioned about his sons. So his 2 wives were actually daughters of Jarasandha. And as soon as Kamsa was killed, he became enraged. So he wanted to attack Mathura and wanted to kill Krishna.
But at that moment when he was killed, then wasn't it Vasudev's father imprisoned? Was it Surasena? Or was it? Wasn't Ugrasena? It was Surasena.
Ugrasena was Kamsa's father.
Yeah. So Surasena was Vasudev's, and he was because at one of the big yajnas. Oh, when they found the Shamataka jewel, Krishna was saying you should turn it over to Surasena. He's the king. So I'm just wondering, like his soldiers didn't fight, or they just all rolled over, and now the power was switched over to someone else that Krishna appoints.
Well, Ugrasena was the king.
Oh, he was.
He was the king, and Kamsa imprisoned him. That was his father. He imprisoned his father and took over. So when Ugrasena was put back on the throne, I mean, everybody just fell in line because he was the rightful king.
And then he had no feelings towards Kamsa. And so, because Surasena was over in Dwarka.
Yeah, he was Vasudev's father. Well, there wasn't no Dwarka in Mathura.
Yeah, later, yeah. So, I'm kind of curious how he didn't have any heirs. He's killing his sister's children. He didn't have any sons.
Yeah. Yes, that's what
Prabhupada said that in Krishna book, how that's the mind of the maniac people. They don't care if it's your relative, they don't care if it's anybody. 1 minute they'll be, oh, very nice, okay, I'm so sorry, and give them a nice philosophical discussion to Vasudeva and Devaki, and the next minute, immediately when they hear bad association from their advisors, then all of a sudden he's back again, imprisoning all the different real.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll turn on anybody.
Hey, my Prabhu, thanks for coming and congratulations on your anniversary.
Thank you.
And,
So we'll hook up the DVD. That's all to go with it?
Yes, Prabhu. Anything? You had a question? You had a comment?
No.
Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Tell you something else that reminded me, how when Krishna was killing the elephant, I think it was Prabhupada meditation book now,
Here
where
it is.
Krishna had the,